Cisco Business Dashboard, the network management tool, simplifies the job of managing a network. It automates deployment, monitoring, and lifecycle management of your network. In this episode of Cisco Tech Talks, I'm going to show you how easy it is to configure a switch port through Cisco Business Dashboard. First, I'll log into the Cisco Business Dashboard with my username and password, and then click the Login button. Once I'm logged in, I need to check the version, so I'll click on the little icon on the right-hand side of the screen. And in this case, the version is 2.3.0. Next, I'll open the menu option on the left side of the screen and click on Port Management. When I open the Port Management page, I can see all the switch ports that are deployed in my network. The model number and serial number of each switch port is displayed above it. To start the process of configuring a switch port, I'm going to click on it like this. When I've selected it, I can see the configuration details in the panel on the right side of the screen. In this case, the GI1 port is selected on the CBS 250 8FP E2G switch. Now let's scroll down the screen to see what we can configure for this switch port. Here in the General tab, I can see the MAC address, duplex, and other settings for this switch port. And this is where I can enable or disable this port. I can simply click on the Edit button and then select the checkbox next to Enabled or Disabled. For right now, I'll leave this checked as Enabled. When I'm done, if I made any changes, I must save them. So I'll click on the floppy disk icon, which I'll call the Save icon from here on. I can also configure the speed and duplex setting for this switch port here. Now, click on the Edit button in the Ethernet tab, and then I can select the speed from the drop-down menu. The options here are 10, 100, 1000, or auto. For now, I'll keep it set to auto. I can also select an option from the duplex drop-down menu. The options are half, full, and auto. Again, I won't make any changes, and we'll keep this set as auto, but I'm still going to click on the Save icon. I should see a notification on the top of the screen that says Ethernet configuration was saved successfully, and a job created to apply it to the device. This is a good reminder that I was successful at making any updates. If I need to, this is where I can select and add a new VLAN for this port. The first thing I'll practice here is how to select a VLAN. To start with, I'll scroll down to the VLAN tab and then click on the Select VLAN option next to VLAN setting. The window that opens next has a list of all the trunk VLANs in this port. I'll select the VLAN that I want and then click the arrow in the center to move it to the right-hand column. And then I need to click the Save button. This will create the job, and at the top of the screen, again, I'll see a notification that the VLAN configuration was saved successfully and a job created to apply it to the device. At this point, I can look at the trunk VLAN field and see the VLAN that I just edited. I can also create a new VLAN. To do this, I'll click on the Create VLAN option and then enter a VLAN ID and VLAN name in the pop-up window. So enter 20 in the VLAN ID field, then enter VLAN 20 in the VLAN name field. Note that there are two checkboxes in the window and that I need to pick one. They are Create on all devices in the same group and Create on all devices in the organization. You can select either one, but for this example, I'm going to click on the checkbox Create on all devices in the same group and then click the Save button. This job will be created, and again at the top of the screen, I can see the notification that the VLAN 20 creation job successfully created. When I'm all done, I can now see the ID of the VLAN I just created in the trunk VLAN field next to the VLAN I selected earlier. I can configure the Power over Ethernet settings here. To do that, I'll first click on the Edit icon in the PoE tab to see what the PoE priority options are for this port. When I click on the drop-down menu, I'll see what options are there. If I choose Critical, this priority class always receives power. What this means is if there is not enough power to use on all the ports, then the ports assigned in this class are prioritized. If I select high, it receives power only if all critical priority ports are receiving power. If I select low, this port receives power only if all critical priority and high priority ports are receiving power. Right now, there isn't a PoE schedule configured for this port, but if any had been, this is where I would select it from the drop-down menu here. Now, here is where I can select the toggle power for the port. All I need to do is click the toggle power button. And once again, I can see the notification on the top of the screen that says, toggled the PoE power successfully. Now that I'm finished with the PoE settings, I'll click on the floppy disk icon again to save the configuration. Now in this panel, I can configure my green Ethernet settings. To start, I need to click the edit icon. Now I can see that EEE Enable is already checked. When this option is turned on, there will be less power consumption during periods of low data activity in the network. The other option I see here is Short Reach. I can enable this by clicking the checkbox, and then I can run the links with less power than they normally use. One thing to remember here is that I can't enable Short Reach and EEE Enable at the same time. If I need to turn on Short Reach, then I must turn off the EEE Enable option. For this episode, I'll keep the EEE Enable option checked. And finally, this is where I can configure settings for smart ports. The Smart Port Settings panel is where I determine what devices can connect to this particular switch port. Right now, I can see that Auto Smart Port is selected for this GI1 switch port. Based on the devices that are currently connected to this switch port, it looks like I can select other smart port settings like a printer, desktop, or server. In this case, I'll select server. Again, I'll see the notification at the top of the screen that the smart port config was saved successfully and a job created to apply it to the device, which means the server has been selected. Now you've seen how simple it is to configure switch ports from the port management window using Cisco Business Dashboard. Keep it simple and smart. You've got this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.